Hi, welcome to my new video on the adversarial age with respect to cybersecurity. Today I'm going to talk about the offensive AI, specifically with context of Claude Mythos. As is the talk of the town and everybody is talking about it, I thought why not create a short 10-minute video with my thoughts and what as a cybersecurity professionals we could do better in protecting against the adversarial. So, why AI has become a weapon? While we are aware that AI is being used in bits and pieces in executing certain TTPs like AI phishing ops, which have become extremely smart, very personalized, you can use and clone voice as well as run videos to run engineered attacks. And not only that, you can do this at a mass level using automated attack platforms, bypassing traditional barriers, which includes the language barriers. We have also seen in bits and pieces about LLM-assisted malwares, which can write polymorphic malwares to exploit a set of vulnerabilities, sometimes even assess zero-day vulnerabilities and write a code on the run to bypass the traditional defenses. We have seen credential attacks, deepfake media, or prompt injection or data poisoning kind of attacks. But what is worrying is that the Mythos capability of following a very structured methodology to uncover vulnerabilities, misconfigurations, and unpatched systems in a record time. And we have seen that in the past that when we analyzed over 100 plus cyber incidents, 80% of the incidents are happening either because of unpatched systems or because of misconfigurations or because of simple brute force attacks and identity theft, which means that the time it takes to exploit now is going to get reduced further. Along with that, Mythos also has a capability of detecting zero-day vulnerabilities across most of the operating systems and browsers, which means that it is capable of executing a very well-defined, simulated attack chain right from reconnaissance all the way to exploitation. The AI Security Institute ran the Mythos offensive capabilities on 10 of the systems which were having traditional defenses, and in 3 out of 10 times through a structured 32 step model and methods, Mythos was able to break into them, which means that the probability is 30%. So it also means that its capabilities right now do not prove that it can consistently overcome the well-defended real-world environments. But once you can think of it as not a tool of capable of breaking everything, but it does seems to be drastically reducing the time it takes and the complexity it takes and the cost it will have for the attackers to use it. So the task that really demanded days or weeks of effort from a highly skilled cyber attackers now can be partially or sometimes even fully automated or accelerated. So this is a serious issue, of course, not yet panic. So what can we do as a cybersecurity professional? If you look at it, what exactly is the issue? There are 3 broad issues. One issue is that the cybersecurity now is the problem of speed and velocity and not a volume. What do I mean is that we used to focus a lot on the number of high-risk vulnerabilities with exploits available, tie it up with criticality of the asset and severity of the vulnerability, and then conclude the prioritization. And we were focusing too much on the volume of the vulnerabilities that we have identified. And we used to give, say, between 3 days, 7 days, 10 days, or 20 days, depending on where we are, to fix at least the high-risk vulnerabilities. But if the time it takes to detect a vulnerability and also write exploit and use methods and mechanisms to exploit the attacks and follow the other TTPs in line with that, which means that the capabilities that we need is of speed and velocity. How can we faster detect it using AI because AI is against us? Secondly, how we can faster remediate it, either through virtual patching or putting up better monitoring capabilities, or lastly, putting up certain controls which might be a compensatory controls if we cannot do it completely. Second is that risk will be measured in time, specifically the time between the disclosure of the vulnerability and its remediation. And lastly, the longer the vulnerability remains unsolved, which means we have the greater capability or the enterprise risk potential increases. So there are 3 broad things which we need to do. One is automated hygiene. As much as possible, we use cyber for AI and try to detect and uncover the vulnerabilities faster. And we can use various models of AI in various ways we do it, not only just with say patch management, but also uh, uh, doing the analysis of a code review to identify the issues faster, to monitor the east-west traffic, better detection capabilities in our security operation centers with AI or machine-generated related targeted speed level attacks, so on and so forth. So automated hygiene means how we can do a self-patching, implement a better zero trust architecture. When I say zero trust architecture means it not only focuses on identity and multi-factor authentication, but also segmenting the crown jewels and separating the users, the servers, the admins, the payment zones, and trying to create uh, various zones and restrict the east-west traffic and put much tighter control on third-party accesses. The third is that how we can do automated defense, which means that move from target defenses most towards the deception carriers, and also how we can do an AI driven anomaly response, which means that some workflows which can be automated to detect machine level attacks and take decisions. Uh, I give you a quick example, and this will really correlate also with the augmented oversight. What I mean by using AI is that when we are discovering a high risk vulnerability on a public facing server, and if the systems also identifies that on that server the EDR has been disabled or is not working, now this really increases the risk and prioritize, which means that either you have to take down that server, or you have to isolate the system, or you have to disable certain service accounts so that the service is not internet accessible by that, or put certain compensatory controls and quickly check why the EDR is not working. So while it may take some time to patch up that vulnerabilities, a combination of defenses with respect to workflow based automation by having two different behavior events can also be seen. And this will also tie up with augmented oversight, which means that we need better risk time intelligence, we need executive dashboarding for prioritization, and we also need continuous autonomous AI red team, which means we how we can leverage better cyber for AI and AI for cyber. Now, third, what is our call to action? Largely, I would say that the call to action should be 5 to 6 things. One is that we need to align the at a model level, which means that embed the constitutional values. What you mean by that is that while you are still following the traditional defenses, but we need to strengthen it. So, example of a zero trust architecture based on identity and multi-factor authentication using AI for defense, which means that we should use AI supported workflows for code review, for exposure discovery, for attack path analysis, for tuning of the detection capabilities, and also remediation prioritization. Third is that we should strengthen our supply chain for dependency scanning, for creating as bombs and code signing validations. We should definitely use AI to improve the monitoring capability to detect the machine level attacks, which can be generated by AI. Certain risks can be sudden burst of exploit attempts, abnormal privilege escalation chains, or unusual service account behavior, so on and so forth. A last thing is that we should create risk operation center, and this ties up with the earlier example that I gave. That instead of looking at high risk vulnerability or looking at non-delivery report of an EDR, which means that EDR is either disabled or is not working on a server, but looking at these two things together and taking a informed action automated by an AI will drastically reduce. I would end this discussion by saying that we need to compress now the vulnerability time from months to days, which means that we it's a kind of time to remediate race, which means that we need separate SLAs for internet facing critical applications and systems, emergency patches, faster exception handling, and compensatory controls where patches cannot be applied. So with that, I would end the discussion saying that quote from the Claude Mythos itself, that safety is a compass, not a cage. Build AI that knows why and not just what to refuse. Thank you for watching. Let me know your comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And also press the bell icon to stay notified of all the future released videos. See you in the next one. Thank you.